This is the SFA Coaches Show.
Oh no, here we go, it's time.
SFA Sports. Director from the head coaches. Tonight's show, sponsored by Texas Farm Bureau Insurance.
I can hear you.
Since 1952, Cadence Bank, proud sponsor of SFA. Opportunity lives here. Bud Light, it's for the fans. Agility Insurance Services, the nation's premier FMO, and by Pilgrims Nacogdoches, official partner of SFA Athletics and Buffalo Wild Wings, proud president sponsor of the SFA Coaches Show. Now, here's the voice of the Lumberjacks, Chase Merrill.
Let's go, Chase!
And welcome back to Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah!
Coaches Show.
Let's go!
As we are here with our very first guest in Coach Colby Carthel, head coach of the SFA football program. Coach Carthel, how you doing?
Doing pretty good, Chase. How are you doing this evening?
Oh, I'm doing good. Well, we just kind of want to jump right into it. Coach, Homer Bryce Stadium was rocking this previous weekend. Over this 3-game home stretch, the first since 2014, we had over 23,000 fans filled into the stadium. Just talking about not only how much that plays a part into your successes on game day, but also in the recruiting process, knowing that the university and community supports the Jags so much.
No, it's huge. It was a tremendous 3-game stand, undefeated at home and 3-0 on the year. So, we take a lot of pride in playing at home, winning at home, and defending our home turf. I think this decade we're 23-6 or something like that at Homer Bryce, and so got to continue to do that. It's got some big games coming up, but this past Saturday in particular, it was really special. One of the biggest crowds I've seen since I've been here. I know part of that's at record freshman enrollment. It was family weekend, and there was people everywhere in this town. You took your life in your own hands, driving down North Street with the traffic, but it was a good problem to have. A lot of alums, obviously a lot of current students and faculty members, faculty, staff showing up in record numbers now. And so it was a fun afternoon. It's beautiful weather. It's Chamber of Commerce weather there, and just really an exciting evening for our guys. It does help in recruiting. We had several recruits and commits that were here, but it really helps the guys in the locker room. It's fun to play this game, but it's disheartening to walk out and play in this empty stadium, and get a feeling of apathy. And you don't get that here. We've got great fans, great support. This town, East Texas in general, it's a flagship university out here in the Piney Woods. And so when you're walking down those steps, not the goat path, but those steps, we're undefeated since we put the steps in.
That's what I like to hear.
Yes, that's exactly right. It's amazing what a little lipstick will do to a pig, and but it makes you feel good. I don't have to get carried up and down the goat path anymore in my boots. But when you're walking down those steps as a player and you see those stands full, it's a great feeling. And I think you saw that in the play of our guys this Saturday as they came out and they played East Texas tough Lumberjack football for 60 minutes.
East Texas tough.
And speaking of East Texas tough, you guys capped off a 3-game homestand with 3 straight victories. After some of those tough matches at the start of the season, what does that tell you about this team, the resilience that they have, and able to come home and win 3 straight?
Well, we're still, got our best ball, I think, in front of us. I thought we played a good game Saturday. I didn't think we played a great game. I told the team that this morning. There's a lot of meat left on the bone there, but the one thing I think you've seen us do is I think you've seen us get better week in, week out. That's what you want to do. They don't crown a national champion the first week of the season for that reason. The great teams get better as the season goes on. And again, we knew it was a tough sledding coming out the gate. University of Houston, last time I checked, they're still undefeated in the Big 12 and having a great year. Abilene Christian, obviously, it was a tough road game against a top 15 opponent. We should have won that game. I don't think we played our best ball, but we've gotten better week in, week out. And then, as you just said, rattling off the 3 at home. Sul Ross, you should beat Sul Ross. I wish we could play them in a best-of-9 series and maybe have a double-header. That'd be great for the stat sheet and the win column. But you got to handle business when you're playing a team like that. But then these past 2 weeks to come out and play a good Cal Poly, a Big Sky team, and this is the best team Cal Poly's had in a good while, and you saw that this week. They went on the road and beat Sacramento State, who was a preseason top 10. They were still ranked in the top 20, and Cal Poly went out there and beat them with their backup quarterback. Their starter got hurt in our game and is still not back. But that shows you the kind of team Cal Poly is. I think they finished in the top half, maybe top 4 or 5 in that Big Sky Conference. I think will be pushing for a playoff team. So that was a good win for us. But then, obviously the next game's the most important. We had the McNeese State Cowboys come to town Saturday. And there's a big conference opener for us. And it's important to get to 1-0. That's your goal each week. But it is important to get out and start conference play with a win. And that's a much improved McNeese team. I know we won this one. We didn't win the one last year. I told Coach Viator after the game, this is a better McNeese team than the one we lost to last year.
Whenever they lost last year.
Coach that returned
And they
there.
haven't won since
He's doing a good job
2011,
in
and
that
it was
program.
2016.
They played tough. They played physical, and gave us all we wanted and then some. We're able to take the lead right there before halftime and then stretch it. I thought really put the game away there in the second half with some really good play and on all three phases of the game. After the game, they told us it's the first time we beat them since like 2011. I was like,
Exactly.
I'm glad you didn't tell me that before the game. I might not have been very confident.
I remember.
It was a good win for us, and I'm proud of the guys the way they played. 60 minutes. It wasn't perfect. Like I said, I think we can play a whole lot better than what we did. I thought we started really slow and inconsistent, offensively, dropping balls, falling down, taking, giving up sacks, taking bad sacks. It wasn't real clean. But they got it together, and I thought, put it in the end zone 4 times, 5 times, maybe 4 times, 3 or 4 in the second half. But the biggest thing, we finished. I didn't think we established a line of scrimmage to start the game, but that second half, I really thought they did. And you saw that at the end of the game. We finished the game with 2 4-minute offense drives. That's when everybody in the stadium knows you're running the ball, and they still couldn't stop us. And that one drive. I call it a dagger drive, where we went up 3 scores. That was a 7-minute drive, and it was really good. And then there at the end, 2-minute warning. I was trying to kneel it out. I asked them if they want to kneel it out through the officials, and they said no. They had 3 timeouts. They wanted to play it. And I was like, all right, we'll play more football. And we rattled off a 50-yard touchdown run. It's like, yeah, boy, I bet Terrell Wembley's happy we kept playing. And ended up getting him the Conference Player of the Week, with that. But just really pleased with that, the way they finished offensively.
Well, you talked about the offense a little bit. I'm going to turn the tide a little bit, go defensively. This is a unit that has aided SFA in sitting at +4 in that turnover margin headed into Week 6. Statistically, the Jacks are at the top defensive unit in the Southland. What stood out to you the most on that side of the ball through 5 games? And what are maybe some areas you still see improvement for?
Yeah, they're playing hard and very physical. We're missing a few pieces, still beat up a little bit, across the board. We got to get healthy. We'll talk more about that later. But, defensively, I think our run defense is really, they're playing well up front and stopping the run and forcing people to throw. We got some corners that can flat run and cover some people. And so when you're able to stop the run and force somebody to throw the football, and you've got 2 elite corners, really 3 or 4, I think, and that poses problems. So they've been able to play well. It's good. We're, whatever it is, +4 in turnover margin. Last time we sat here, we were dead last in the country. We were last in the country in turnover margin. That's a team stat. And we're doing a better job taking care of the football and a much better job creating turnovers. But I thought Saturday they had a really good performance. They were fired up. Trevante Citizen, that tailback they had at McNeese, he's a 5-star kid, signed with Miami and all that. They came in with the 6th best rushing offense in the country or something like that. And so our guys, they accepted that challenge and they went out there and really laid the wood to them. And that Citizen kid, he had 1 run over 7 yards. That was we misfit that 4th down play, and he got a 20-yard touchdown. That didn't sit well with the guys. But other than that, they held him in check. Other than that 1 run, I think they held him to 17-yard. 23 yards on whatever it was, 12 carries. So shut that running offense down. That was good to see. But again, much like the offense, is a good performance, but it wasn't great. And there was 4 or 5 interceptions that we left out there on the field, and that's going to catch up. If we want to be the kind of team we want to be, we've got to start making those plays. And we're in position, do a great job there on 3rd and 1, and they throw a jump ball, and we let it go through our hands. And you know, they score the next play, and that in big games, you know, that was a big game. But closer games, those are going to be the difference between winning and losing. So I think as a whole, defense and offense, just as a team, we've got to do a good job this week in practice and moving forward through the rest of the season to try to go from being a good team to a great team. And that falls on us as coaches and getting them to that point.
And we've talked about offense, we talked on defense. Just really quick, I do want to touch on special teams just a little bit over the past, this homestand that we've had. You had Kylan Harris run a punt return back for a touchdown. Paz has been fantastic punting the ball. I know we don't like talking about punting the Paz, you know, when we have to use them, fantastic. We even had our first couple field goals of the season in the last game of McNeese. Just, would you mind touching a little bit on the special teams?
Yeah, I think
Don't worry,
we've had
that's
2
just
punt returns for touchdown. Bugs had one earlier too, and right now we're doing well in the special teams category. You know, I didn't think we played very well against Sol Ross in special teams, but
Exactly.
I thought
that
this
game was
past
not too
week
good.
was good. The week before was good.
Talking
You know,
about
and they're
Sol
doing good in all facets of it. You saw McNeese there and just trying to get something happen. Brought a kickoff back.
No, remember
kick
Sol
return
Ross
back
was
from
this
about
year.
4 yards deep, and I mean he got smoked
remember?
on that 9-yard.
It's not the Warner.
And they're
We're not in Western Athletic
You
anymore.
know, they had a 15-yard penalty, so we had to
Fine,
kick
you
off
know
from
he
the
talks
50.
about games from this
Well,
year.
you watch football, it drives me nuts as a coach that if you're kicking off from the 50 and then they just let the kicker just kick it through the uprights, touchback, great. What good did that do? You just wasted a 15-yard penalty. Now that's the dumbest play I see people do all the time. I'm sure they say the same thing about some of the decisions I make. But you know, you're kicking off from the 50, you kick it or squib it down in the corner, make them return it. You can penalty. Well, we did that Saturday, and those guys beat the living thunder out of that poor kid, and that was fun to see. But Paz has been a great blessing. We've talked about him, turning and flipping the field, and our coverage has been really good with our gunners. You saw Davion Hargrove make a big hit.
Yes.
And there's some good things happening with special teams. CAI, they bring all that with how many points you're producing through that. I think right now we're sitting 3rd in the country in overall combined special teams, all 5 facets of it. So hopefully that keeps up. I always say that's a punch you never see coming. Everybody wants to talk about offense and defense, but it's special teams that separates good to great, and I think we're doing a good job there. You mentioned the field goal kicking. We went on 5 games without kicking a field goal. I was trying to be positive, and I told everybody, man, we're 5 games in, we still haven't missed a field goal. People in church and everything, oh, that's great, you must have a great kicker. I said, well, we hadn't even kicked one yet. Chris Campos was there in the stadium along with 10,000 plus other fans. So, the GOAT was there, the Nacogdoches kicking GOAT was there, so I figured we better at least try 1 or 2, and 2 for 2 there. So that unit's been really good as well.
All right, Coach. Well, we move on to the next upcoming matchup. It's billed as a Southwood Conference clash between 2 of the top selections in the preseason poll. What are your early thoughts on Incarnate Word, and what will the Jacks need to do to pull out a win in San Antonio?
Let's just keep talking about the McNeese.
Oh yeah, because remember they won the championship last year.
And it's going to be a tough field climb. They've got a great team. Coach Killo does a good job there, and I know everybody's making a big deal out of preseason, polls and 1 versus 2 and all that. None of that really matters. It's a big game because it's the next one. But it is going to be a challenge. They defend their home turf exceptionally well. I don't even want to
There's
tell you
no
what
way
their
they come
record
back
is
to
at
win the
home. I mean, they've won in a row because it's a bunch.
They won last year.
But there's going to be, they pose some challenges for us. It's all about their quarterback. I don't know what was going on the first year. They were playing another
still talking
kid.
about the Wildfire from California.
What's going on, but it is night and day difference, and they've settled in on this E.J. Colson and I mean, the Sucker started games last year in the Big 12, transferred to the Big 10.
Exactly, the Big 12
going to be their
is
starter.
what they played against that they
had
lost.
some things happen there, and,
Big 12 is a big conference.
and left that Big 10 school and ended up at Incarnate Word this summer. And my goodness, we played. He looks exact. I mean, this you're going to sound silly, but he looks better on film going into play him than Cam Ward
I'm
did.
eager, or
You know,
mine
we
now
went
might
down
go
there
pretty
in
him over there.
2021. Now, obviously, Cam Ward was not the number one draft pick in the
You see
in the
that dude
NFL
over there
at the
with like
time.
the-
He was a freshman,
the
true
one with
freshman
purple
playing
face shirt,
quarterback.
that
But
one
just
right there with
the
the
way this kid conducts
mustache
himself,
beard.
I mean, he's such.
I'm saying a Michael Green because I saw him at some
strong
SFA
arm,
basketball game. That's why I was down
He will
hosting
eject from that pocket. and it's
I
just
know him
like
because
running
I've been down on
gone.
the
And he's just a cool
host
character.
field
He
with
plays
him
the game. It is
for the
disgusting
past
to
basketball
watch.
games.
I'm a defensive guy, and you're just like, oh my God. You play coverage, then he's just going to eject and eat you up. You try to pressure him, bring pressure. They've got, you know, a tremendous receiving core. They got a returning first-team All-American,
He
Jalen
doesn't want to talk
Walthall.
about the conference because they won the
and then
conference last
in the
year.
backfield, you know, they've got the
They won the
2023
championship.
Southland Conference Offensive Player of the Year in Jalen Spears, and another 2024 All-Conference running back, Harlan Dixon. That Spears is from Nichols, Harlan Dixon's from Sela. They got an All-Conference DB from Nichols. They are we laugh and call them the Southland Conference All-Star team because you know they're on a whole different planet when it comes to NIL there, and they got the town of San Antonio, and they, you know, good for them. They're able to do some great things in terms of compensation there, but they have collected some tremendous players, and they're playing very well together right now. I think, you know, all you have to do is look and see what they did this past week. They took Abilene Christian behind the woodshed and beat
Last year's champions.
beat the purple off their helmet. I mean, it was
They lost
38 to
Southland
7.
after they
I mean,
beat
that's a butt whooping right there.
First time since
And,
23,
you know, we played
2023
Abilene
they
Christian.
beat
Abilene
us.
Christian, a good football team, and so we know it's going to be a tough challenge. But our guys are excited. You know, I mean, you work. You tail off all year to play in big games, and this will be a big game down there. And so, again, it's not the end-all, be-all to the season or anything like that. It's just another challenge that's in front of us. I've said all along, I don't think anybody's going to go through this conference gauntlet unscathed, and you're looking at Carthel, where they're going to get a conference loss. You know, that first game of the year, they turned the ball over 5 times in Nichols, and just kind of gifted one a little bit there, maybe per se. And so their backs against the wall, so they know they've got a good SFA team coming in. I'm not sitting here saying it's David versus Goliath or anything like that, but it's going to be 2 good football teams, and they've got some pressure on them already having one loss, and you know, lost to Nichols, lost to Incarnate or to UTSA, and then they went on the road, kind of have an Abilene loss like we did. They went out to Northern Arizona a couple weeks back and lost to a really good Lumberjack team. The Lumberjacks got them, so. Let's hope they go 0-2 against the Lumberjacks this year. That's for Merry Christmas and Nacogdoches.
Well, I know I'm excited for the matchup, but Coach, anything else for Jack Nation?
I'll just appreciate everybody that's come out over the past 3 weeks. That's been unbelievable support and that many fans in the stands supporting these guys. And if you're able to make the trip to San Antonio, it's a great city to visit. And so come on out and support the Jacks. If not, tune in, listen to the greatest voice in Lumberjack football, old Chase Merrill, and I'm sure you'll call a good one, won't you?
Oh,
you're going to call us a win?
Of course he's going
Call us
to.
a win. There you go, man. I'll take it. Axel Jacks, baby.
All right. Thank you so much, Coach Colby, Carthel, head coach of SFA football. We'll be right back. You're listening to the Buffalo Wild Wings Coaches Show on the Lumberjack Sports Network from Learfield.